All right. So this is the assignment as mentioned. Here's I'm gonna show the content and then we'll go from there. So first things first, we have a widget that has a text. You didn't see that. Anyways, the losing widget, the winning widget are similar. They both have the same buttons. They just have different colored backgrounds and text. The where you at? The main menu one is honestly also the same. They're kind of the same buttons. They don't really just they're named differently, but um let's see here. I'm not gonna like bounce between all of them because they're kind of doing the same thing, but basically whenever you click the start or the restart button, it'll reload the player level, and obviously when you quit, and this is just showing the mouse cursor whenever you arrive there. Let's see here. This one, this one is I can delete this actually now. This one is a little blueprint that I made that's using a struct, and this is the struct. It's just it gets a string and it has the class references of the widgets because I didn't want to make like several different blueprints per level. I thought that would be a little uh, tedious and a little much. So what I did was it'll get the name of the current level and it'll run through an array of this struct, and they're right here. And it's basically the name of the level and the widget to display. In this case, the actual player level has none, but if it's the lost level, it'll display the widget level and the win, and the main menu, the main menu. So then it'll do this and this god awful looking node, and if the current level matches as it goes through the list of structs, if it matches it, it'll then create the widget and display it. So that's how I get that. Let's see here. Bullet is just a spear. The enemy's a cube. The enemy spawner. I don't think it does anything. Yeah, that doesn't do anything. Okay, so I only have one script. Uh, I'll start here. Okay, so I get a f vector. I'll show you what that's doing later. A distance, a spawn location vector, a rotation vector or a rotation that's literally just a bunch of zeros, so it doesn't rotate at all because it's just a cube. Who cares? And then I have some U properties, which is the spawn radius, which I'll show in a second, the type of actor that's being spawned, and then the win and the lose level names, which I'll explain in the script. We have a spawn timer, so how fast they're spawning, and the first delight timer, which is both editable, and I'll show you why I have these. I have two U functions. One is a reset enemy counter, and one's a kill enemy. Basically, this cube, the enemy, when it gets hit by a bullet, it'll get a reference to a class of the timer enemy script that I just mentioned in the level, and it'll call the blueprint for the function for both. So it's calling the functions from the blueprint. So it'll kill it, which is this. All it does is just -1 to the counter, and then it'll destroy the actor. Let's start from the top. Nothing's happening here. Begin play. Alright. So the draw debug spear, that's just giving me a visual in the game on where they're spawning. So the get actor location right here is the actual like on enemy spawner blueprint. The spawn radius is the radius that I mentioned previously. In this case, it's 150 or whatever I set to in the actual game. I think this is the segments, and then this is the color, and this is just to have it run forever. So that's why it's in begin. Spawn enemy. This is the timer thing that you wanted. This is the spawn timer and the first delay parameters things that are right here that I mentioned that you can edit in the game. And then this is just a U log that tells you something spawned because uh, you said in the game it should start with like X amount of enemies already in the level, so that's why this is called here, because there's 4 of them. I'll show you in a second. This is keeping track of the enemy counters. Enemy counter is static. Where are you at? It's somewhere here in his freaking list of garbage. I don't know where it is. It kind of honestly could just be this, but yeah, it's a static variable, so all instances of this little timer blueprint is going to have it. Uh, when the counter goes over 20, meaning there's 20 enemies in the level, you'll lose. It'll load the lose name thing. Apparently you need a string. I tried getting a reference to the level, but it did not like that. Uh, and then the equivalent, if it's 0, it's you win. Reset the enemy counter. If you go to the yeah, sure. All the widgets have this. When you click restart, it'll play the U function enemy restart counter. Because it's a static function, you have to reset it back to 0. So that's what that does. So that way when you restart the game, it's not at 20 again. Even tells you right there, killing me is killing me. And then this one. Basically, distance is random of 0 to spawn radius. So it'll go from 0 to however big this dome is, or the radius of it is. The spawn location is just the spawn location, and then you'll have the random direction, that's right here, which has this little handy thing, which is basically a random vector in 3D space, times the distance, so times how far within the dome. And then this is me just making the transform and then spawning the actual thing there, and then it'll go up by 1. Alright, I spent all day on this. Alright, I'm going to show the winning scene. So I set all the variables to where it's kind of slow. So right now, as the 4 domes, as I mentioned, and there's 4 things here. So when I destroy them all, whoop, whoop, come on, there you go. There, all of them are destroyed, and you win. And if we click restart, there we go. When you click restart, it'll pop up again. There. And now if we go back here, this is how it's set up. It's for spawners, so that's why it's got like 4 domes. I just have the domes in there just to help me out with the visuals. Let's see, we'll do like what, 5 seconds, and then every 4 seconds it'll spawn a new one. Also, because there's 4 of them, I bet sometimes like you get a reference to like this type of blueprint or this type of actor to activate some of the stuff attached to it. That's why I have it set to where it just gets 1. I don't know which one. It's probably a random one every time. That's why there's also win level and lose level are empty here, because only the very top one has it, because I don't need it to run 4 times. It's kind of odd, but it works. Alright, and I'll show this here. So we'll play it. A lot of text. Cool. And so you have 4, and then on the bottom it'll say how many are currently in the scene. So we got 8. And as you see, they're spawning randomly within the dome. It's kind of hard. Honestly, if it was up to me, I would probably actually make all the parameters different, because this is kind of hard. I don't even know what that is. But yeah, there we go. Over 20, lose level with a capital E, and you lost. And if we click restart, we're back here. So yeah. Hope you liked it.